contracts to stay with the Clippers. He could do a 1+1 that takes him through what's largely going to be a rehab year next season coming off that ACL. He can sign a longer-term deal, and obviously, if he wants to look elsewhere in the NBA, he can do that as an unrestricted free agent, although the expectation is he will return to the Clippers here in the short term.
All right, Kawhi averaged 30.4 points in the playoffs, most in a single postseason in Clippers history, so they'd love to have him back. Hey, let's go east to the Sixers, Woj. What are you hearing about the possibility of a trade involving Ben Simmons?
Jay, the Sixers continue to canvass the league looking for deals involving Ben Simmons, and they certainly would like to get something done before the start of training camp. Talks with teams like Portland, Minnesota, Toronto, any number of teams around the league have interest in Ben Simmons. It's a question of how much are they willing to pay, and we could add a number of teams to that list. The Sixers are asking, for a steep return, an all-star level player, multiple first-round picks, trade swaps. They've not found a team yet that's willing to pay that premium for Ben Simmons, but both Ben Simmons and the Sixers are hopeful that they'll find a solution, find him a new destination before the start of next season.
Simmons finishing second in the Defensive Player of the Year voting this past season, just behind Rudy.
That was as good of a half as Team USA has played since the '92 Dream Team. They made 21 of their first 25 shots. I'm going to say that again. 21 of their first 25 shots in the second half. They played shutdown defense. Drew Holiday has just been a demon defensively, and that's important because they're facing some really good guards the rest of the way, and he is going to be out front on them. Kevin Durant looked like the Kevin Durant we expected, and if they play that way, I don't think this is a hot take, if they play that way, they will not be touched, but they have been inconsistent, and I will point out that in the first half of that same game, they were up by 4 points on the Czech Republic, who were not in their class. So it's obviously very encouraging, but I don't think it's something that you can guarantee going forward.
Now they got Spain next. They're 16-2 all time against Spain. What do you expect about in the next matchup?
They handled Spain pretty well 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I guess it was, in Las Vegas, and that was before they imported the guys from the finals who have been big additions, especially Holiday. Spain needs to be respected and is dangerous. Ricky Rubio has been a really good player, one of the highest scorers so far here in the Olympics. But if the Americans play well, the Spanish just don't have the firepower that they used to. It's an older team. They're relying heavily on 37 or 38-year-old Marc Gasol and 41-year-old Pau Gasol. If they play well, I don't think Spain can handle them.
You're listening to Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance. Brian Windhorst is joining us from Japan, and his Summer Games news and notes is brought to you by California Almonds, representing your country or representing your trivia team. Almonds are natural fuel for the best you. California Almonds, own your everyday, every day. Okay, Wendy, let's go to what's going on here in the U.S. NBA free agency. It starts today, and all signs are pointing to the Heat perhaps bringing in Kyle Lowry. What is the latest that you know of what's going on in Miami?
Free agency is about half over. In fact, a lot of deals are basically in place. So we're going to see a lot of action after 6 o'clock. And it looks like Kyle Lowry, he had a choice, really three choices between Dallas, New Orleans, and Miami. And it appears that he has chosen Miami and that they've put a deal together to sign and trade him from Toronto, which bails Toronto out of the bizarre decision not to trade him last spring. And that is going to send off a cavalcade of other moves that come behind it, specifically with the point guards. I don't expect Chris Paul to move. I expect he'll get a very large new deal done with the Phoenix Suns. And then you're going to have other guys having to make decisions. Specifically, we're going to be watching a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie, who has several different options, and you'll start to see things fall into place from there.
I guess the biggest mystery of all of free agency is when or where does Ben Simmons get traded? What are you hearing about that?
As far as I know, they're not close to anything. And the type of conversations that they've had have left teams walking away thinking they don't really want to trade Ben Simmons now. They are asking for they are asking for essentially the same type of package that the Brooklyn Nets got for James Harden back in the winter. And Ben Simmons' value just isn't there right now. So Daryl Morey is very calculated. I question the way he's going about this because he's basically telling one of his best players, we don't want you. But he doesn't seem to care about that. He must be waiting for something. There must be a series of events or a player that comes available that he's waiting for. We could speculate on that, but he is not acting like somebody who's seriously interested in trading Ben Simmons, and I do not think that it will happen in the short-term future.
He's looking for the same thing they got for James Harden. Is he kidding? With Ben Simmons? We're talking to Brian Rinhorst right now, who's in Tokyo for us, our ESPN NBA insider here on KJZ this morning. Okay, let's touch on Kawhi Leonard. He declined his contract, but so now what do you expect to happen with Kawhi Leonard?
Well, it's very strange the way Kawhi operates. I really can't figure him out, and he does a very good job of keeping cards close to the vest, so I can't really tell you what I think he's going to do. I mean, there's an expectation within the league that he's going to resign, but I'm not going there yet. What I think is strange is him opting out of his contract is not really the best financial decision he could make. If he was 100% going to stay with the Clippers, he would stay into his contract and extend off of that. That financially would be the best decision. Also, if he had done that, he would have enabled the Clippers to apply for a disabled player exception, which would have given them a $10 million one-time exception they could use to sign a player in free agency that could add to that. By him opting out, they lose that. So that is not him operating in concert with the team, which makes me wonder what his intentions are. I'm not projecting what his intentions are. I'm just saying that he doesn't seem to be operating in concert with the Clippers. So I'm going to sit back and wait. I do not expect him to have a resolution in the short term here. He did this for a reason, and I'm going to try to figure out why he did that.
Good luck with that one. I tell you what, one of the interesting pieces there is Iguodala wasn't retained by Miami, and I know it's going to be a fight out west to see who can get Iggy. Can you see Iggy going back to a reunion with Golden State, or does LeBron convince him to come chase another title?
Guys, here's the thing. I honestly believe that the Lakers are going to need to sign 10 minimum players. Well, you just heard me. 10 minimum players. That means that they are going to have to look for guys to take discounts and fill different roles all across the board. So any player that you have that you think that they could get on the minimum, whether it's a guy like Carmelo Anthony, all the way down to a low-level shooter who just got released yesterday, a guy named Matt Thomas, they're going to be in the game for all guys who they may be able to get for that price, because they are not going to be able to outbid anybody. So absolutely they're going to go after Andre Iguodala. What role he may fill, whether his comfort is, I mean, that's a different question. But the Lakers can't, with where they are, they've got $123 million committed to 4 players. And I do assume that they will re-sign 1 or 2 of their free agents. I don't feel so good about Alex Caruso. I think there's a decent chance Alex Caruso is going to be elsewhere. I do feel good about Taylor Horton-Tucker, but they're going to have to just really work those veterans, and Iguodala is on that list for sure.
Explain this to me, Wendy, because I'm not familiar with a lot of the nuance as far as contracts with basketball like I am with football. But when the Big Three came together in Golden State, when the Big Three came together in Miami, they all restructured their contracts and didn't take as much as they could. Is it possible for them to restructure their contract, be it LeBron or Westbrook, to be able to create some more wiggle room so they don't have to go bottom fishing?
It is not. No, their contracts are locked in, and between the three of them, they will make $120 million this year, which is the highest 3-team players in the history of the game. And the salary cap, which obviously is a soft cap, it can be exceeded. Almost everybody exceeds it. The salary cap is $113 million. So in just those 3 players, they can't even fill out. If they had a hard salary cap, they couldn't even fill out a starting 5. So, but that said, there are going to be players who are going to want to come to the Lakers. So I do believe that they're going to still build a very strong team. They're just going to have to really work to put those guys together, just because they don't even have a full starting 5 right now.
Wow. Interesting stuff. All right.